Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's Kyle Henderson, BamaInsider.com. Thank you for joining us tonight, Friday, August 9th, a day away from Alabama's first scrimmage. I hope I'm coming in loud and clear. Please let me know in the comment box. The call-in line is 205-686-3604. I will take your calls in just a minute, but I want to start out with talking about Nick Saban's press conference a little bit from Wednesday, kind of digest it a little bit more, let everyone get piped in, and then we will continue on the Talk of Champions. My name is Kyle Henderson. Thanks for joining us, and we will talk about the injuries. We will talk about more. We will talk about the quarterbacks. We will talk about everything right here on the Talk of Champions. But first, Nick Saban's press conference.
How's everybody doing today? Good. Well, I've been fairly pleased with the way the players have gone about their work so far. I think that one of the things that we've got to get more players on this team to be able to play winning football even when circumstances, get difficult. One of the terms that I came up with is run hard when it's hard to run, when it gets hard to run. And I think some of the younger guys on the team, it's hot, you get tired, not used to that many reps, but we need those reps so we can practice until we can't get it wrong, not just till we get it right. And one of the things that we're really trying to establish that we talked about before is, to me, everything starts with discipline. I don't care if it's how you do flex, I don't care if it's how you run across the field, how you do karaoke, how you do high knee pumps, how you do up downs. If you don't respect that enough to do it right when you know that's the right way to do it, how are you going to be trusted in the game to do what you're supposed to do? Because I think discipline is a mindset that's a part of who you are. So it's how you live your life. It's how you do everything that you do, whether it's how you focus in a meeting, how you get ready to practice, and how you can sustain practice and make the right choices and decisions. And, it goes kind of back to what are you willing to accept? Not really what you say. It's not even what you do sometimes. It's what are you willing to accept from yourself and what are you willing to accept from your teammates. It's great to have high expectations. We've always had a relentless pursuit of excellence around here in terms of what we try to accomplish and what we try to do. But if you don't do things right all the time at a high standard, you watch somebody else celebrate. So that's something that our players have to make a commitment to in terms of what they want to do, what they want to accomplish, and what kind of team they want to be. This acclimation period that we do, I think, is a really good thing. It really helps the players sort of get back into football. I don't care how much conditioning you do in the summertime and even how much simulated training you do relative to your position. It's probably never enough relative to what you have to do in practice or even in a game in terms of reps, doing the things that are important at your position. So to have 2 days in just helmets, 2 days in shoulder pads, and today being the first day in pads, I certainly think, that kind of lead up is very helpful to the players. We've gone through 5 days of really, really heavy installation with our players. Sometimes we go back now and try to review a little bit so that they get a chance to learn it a second time, maybe pick up on some things that they didn't understand, especially the younger guys. So that's kind of where we're at right now. Saturday and the scrimmage.
All right, that was Nick Saban's press conference, and you're listening to BamaInsider.com. What's going on, everyone? Thanks for checking in. I'm actually going to open up the call-in line right now. I'm going to take your calls. 205-686-3604 is the number to call in. There's a lot to talk about going into Saturday's scrimmage, and I wanted to talk about a couple injury notes. I know you guys are curious to find out injury report regarding DJ Dell, who's a talented early enrollee freshman, looks to have a sprained knee. We reported that earlier on BamaInsider.com. Doesn't look too serious. And there have been reports that Trey Sanders, Alabama's talented incoming freshman, has suffered an ankle injury. So we haven't been able to confirm that. We'll learn more tomorrow on during Nick Saban's press conference, which will be on Saturday at 3 p.m. So stay tuned for more information on that. And I think a good place to start out with is just to let's talk about. Let me pipe in some clips, and these were the inside linebackers today, and we can just roll through that. And you'll see Joshua McMillan kind of leading the group, and I think he's done a great job at being the senior leader. And Pete Golding talked a lot about that during his press conference. He said that Joshua McMillan, very intelligent young man, and brings a lot of senior leadership to this. And I'm curious to see if he's going to be the guy starting next out to Dylan Moses this year. I think those two could be a very nice combination, but is it the best combination for Alabama in terms of the defensive scheme? Now, there's other guys, of course, on Alabama's defense that I feel who could be very capable, but I think a lot of this comes down to attention to detail. And in the clip you're about to watch, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. So Pete Golding, who's a very attention to detail type guy, explains a drill, and then right here you see Josh McMillan, the senior, he's done it before, goes out and executes it perfectly. And then right there's Markel Benton, messes up, has to finish out, and then right behind him, Shane Lee, who's another freshman, has to be reminded exactly what to do before finishing out the drill, followed by Ali Cajo, who takes on the drill very well, and same with Christian Harris. And I think these guys are, the younger group, it's going to take some time for these guys to really get acclimated, especially the freshman group. And I said this today on BamaInsider.com. I think out of all the freshmen that have attended Alabama in the summer, I think Christian Harris is probably the one who's a little bit more behind just in terms of probably the terminology and getting used to everything on the defensive side. Remember, he played receiver and cornerback in high school. So I think, now making the transition to inside linebacker might be a little bit tough for him, but I think he's going to pan out just well. And I think Jalen Moody, right here who you're watching, I think he's another guy who everyone is really excited about. And check out this form of athleticism right here. Tips up, catches it, and I think you'll see him on the field. I think he's probably too good to keep off the field this year, and really excited to see what he can do for the Crimson Tide during his sophomore season. All right, so as I said earlier, the call-in line is open, and you can call me right now. 205-686-3604 is the number to call in. We can talk about the Crimson Tide. We can answer your questions. I want to hear from you. Hit me up. You want to talk about the schedule, who you think potentially could give Alabama a run during the early part of the season, or do you think that Alabama's going to slice right through? They're a double-digit favorite in all of their games moving forward. So the opener against Duke, there hasn't been a line placed on that game, but I would assume it's a double-digit against Duke and a double-digit against New Mexico State. And I think they're an 18-point favorite against South Carolina, which is a big spread considering they're on the road. Let's look at the quarterbacks, and he got the quarterbacks right here. And as you would imagine, Tua Tagovailoa has looked fantastic early on, and we haven't seen any signs of injuries. Look how quick he is just to deliver that football and get out. And all of his passes have been really right on the money. I'm curious to see what Mac Jones can do in Saturday's scrimmage. I think a lot of people are, right? He had a great A-Day. I think he was 19 of 23. He throws a very good ball, and he's continued to really improve. But I'm really excited about this young man. That's Tua Tagovailoa. I think he's a guy who people are really excited about. He's got a really good zip on the ball. And then Paul Tyson. I know some of you guys have said that I'm sleeping on Paul Tyson. I'm not sleeping on Paul Tyson. How could you? I just think he's a little bit behind compared to the rest of the quarterbacks right now. This is actually Jay Barker's son, who looks pretty good. And some of these other guys, they're going to come around, but I think there's just such a big gap in terms of the number one quarterback and the rest of the quarterbacks here at Alabama. And hopefully that isn't a weakness for this team. These guys always rise up. Just look what Tua did when he had to rise up against Georgia in the national championship game. So these guys have a lot of experience, especially being the fact that Talia and Paul did get to Alabama. Watch this ball right here by Tua. Check that out. It's right on the money. Jeez. being that they were early enrollees. And, Mac Jones, he's been here. He's been here for a while. He knows the program, knows the system, and we have our first call. All right, we will take it right now. All right, good evening. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Thanks for calling in. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, Kyle. How are you?
Good. Who am I on the line with and where are you calling from?
This is Todd. I'm calling from Boaz, Alabama.
All right, good to hear from you, Todd. So what do you want to talk about? What's your question for tonight? I mean, tomorrow's our first scrimmage. I mean, it's we've had plenty of coverage. There's plenty to talk about.
I think it's the biggest thing that Alabama's got to do this year is get back to running the football to control the line of scrimmage the way Coach wants it to be done.
Yeah, I think you would bring up a great point, and I think we're going to see a lot of that with Steve Sarkisian. I think if you've been following our coverage, Steve Sarkisian said that you can go ahead and take that. Steve Sarkisian said that, his offensive philosophy starts with running the football, which I think is a great sigh of relief for the Crimson Tide, especially when you have a running back like Najee Harris, right? So that play action,
definitely,
right? So the play action scheme that he's bringing, I think Crimson Tide fans are really excited about. What do you think about Steve Sarkisian?
I think he has the tools to get the job done. But if the only way they can keep Tua focused where he's throwing the football down the field is by spreading everybody out and keeping the defense off the field. Because that killed us last year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Now let me ask you this. Now you've seen the footage on some of these younger quarterbacks. Does the lack of experience behind Tua concern you, or do you have confidence in a quarterback like Mac Jones?
I've got plenty of confidence in Mac.
And what about? Go ahead.
But it all depends on whether Najee Harris and everybody behind it, Brian Robinson and all those are being able to run the football effectively. The quarterback position will take care of itself.
I think you brought up an interesting name, and that's Brian Robinson. I mean, what an individual. And I think what I respect most about him is how he's waited his time. He didn't get frustrated. He didn't leave. He needed more carries. Even Saban said that. But I think that he's due for an explosive season in 2019.
Oh, I do too. And I'm really hoping that, that he's able to get the ball enough to show what he can do.
Yeah, me too. And I think that, even though Najee Harris is going to be the bell cow, so to speak, for this offense, I think there's going to be plenty of reps for Brian Robinson. And, of course, we want to see the freshmen like Jerome Ford and Trey Sanders get on the field. So much talent. And then, of course, you can't forget Killian Robinson. So great call. Please call into the show next time. And thank you for subscribing. And thank you for watching tonight. I appreciate the call.
Hey, you do a great job. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Bye, man.
All right, just first call of the 2019 football season. Call-in line is open, 205-686-3604. Usually I'll do these calls on Sunday night. This is kind of like a test, so to speak, because I want to make sure that I have the audio. So if you can give me some feedback to make sure the audio is coming in, and if you can see the videos, I would really appreciate that. And you can, of course, let me know what you think, or you can post questions right here in the chat box. We even have a super chat option. But if you want to call in, that would be greatly appreciated, 205-686-3604. And just like our last caller said, I think that Brian Robinson is going to have a very special year for the Crimson Tide. I mean, how can he not? I mean, I think got another call coming in. All right, hello, it's Kyle Henderson. Thanks for calling tonight. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling from?
Well, it's good. Kyle, it's Q from Brooklyn.
Hey, what's up, Q? Good to hear from you, man. You been all right?
Man, yes, sir. How you doing? Season about approaching, getting ready.
I know, man. It's finally the season. It's finally the season, man. I'm so excited that the season's finally here. So break it down for us, man. You always have good breakdowns. So what are you gonna break down for us today? Offense, defense, something else?
I mean, both sides of the ball is really key. Like, we don't know where we stand on both sides of the ball as of right now, especially when it comes to the defensive side. I don't know why they want to move Shaheem to the safety. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't move him to safety. I'd leave him at star and place Daniel Wright in there, number 3. I think he's due for a big season. He's been waiting his turn. He's a hard hitter. He knows defense probably. And from the offensive side, running the ball, like the last caller said, running the ball, I think we got to open the offense and throw the ball. We have too many weapons. There's too many sick weapons that we got at the receiver. You got Waddle, got Mitchell, you got Xavier Williams, if that's his name. You got Judy, you got Smith, you got Ruggs. And I don't know why these people still sleep on Smitty. Like, Smitty didn't win us the championship.
Mm-hmm. Now, let me ask you this, Q. Does it concern you that Alabama doesn't have a big-time returning tight end to this season? I mean, maybe it doesn't. I mean, you have so many weapons, as you said, but, I mean, a tight end, the tight end is important. What do you think about that?
I mean, yeah. I mean, honestly, our tight end situation right now, I think Cam Latu is going to be our new Irv Smith. I think he's going to be the one to step up. I like Miller Force, though, and Mason. What's his name? Number 88.
That's Major Tennyson.
Major. I like Major. Major's good too. But I feel like they're like more of a blocking tight end. I don't know. I haven't seen them in a passing situation yet. But
you're right. So for everyone out there, for the tight end, let me break the tight end for you guys. So you have Cameron Latu, who moved over from outside linebacker to tight end. He's now number 81. He's looked great, right? We haven't seen him drop a pass. And then a guy that we just got to summertime is Jahlil Billingsley.
Freshman. He's looking good too, but I think you need to put on a little more weight, just a little bit. Get him to at least like a 220, 225. Because he looks like he's about like 210, 205 right now. So he needs to put on a little more pounds. I think he'll play when we blow out teams. You know our roster. We're due to blow out teams from week 1 to week 16. We'll blow out. We're waiting for Clemson. We're waiting for Clemson. We want our revenge. Clemson, we want all the smoke. I'm letting everybody know now. Clemson, we want all the smoke.
Nick Saban, you make Nick Saban mad. You got Duke in a couple weeks. That's the first team on the plate.
Yeah, I mean, we worried about everybody week by week, yeah, but for me, I'm thinking ahead of time. I want Clemson, and I want what we deserve. We deserve that back-to-back natty. I just feel like we just let it slip away from us, and we're going to get it back, though.
Hey,
by God's grace. I pray on that.
Hey, Q, please call back again. And like I said earlier in the show, I'm going to have the show on Sunday nights, my regular scheduled program. So was the audio okay for you and everything like that, Q?
Yeah, everything's okay. I've been watching it for a minute now.
Okay.
Yeah, everything's good. So,
right, man.
have a great evening. God bless. God bless America. God bless Alabama football. God bless America. And God bless everybody. Have a good evening.
Hey, I appreciate it, Q. Good call. And the thing I love about Q Squalls is the way he exits out. That's good stuff. That's one of our great callers. So thanks for calling in, Q. Calling line is open. Call in, rap with me, 205-686-3604. Let's spend a little bit of Friday night rapping about Alabama football. And I know that the tight end situation might not be, that serious to worry about, but I want to see Miller Forrest healthy. I think he's a guy that could be a weapon for Alabama's offense. But like our earlier callers have said, I think it all starts with the running game. And I was really glad to hear Steve Sarkisian say that his offensive philosophy starts with the rushing attack, and the play action I think is going to suit Tua very, very well in the amount of weapons that he has. So very dangerous offense, as you know, and the defense, there's not that many questions on defense. I think we've been talking about the inside linebacker position for a while now, but let's talk about the outside linebacker position. As you know, Yabi Anoma exited out of the program, didn't commit to Maryland like we thought he would. He committed to Houston, so that's kind of interesting. So now at the outside linebacker, not that he would have been a starter, I just thought he would have got some playing time this year, potentially. But you have Terrell Lewis, and I mean, how great has he looked early on in the fall camp? I know that, Alabama has wanted to monitor, him and how much he's going during this fall camp, but I think he's due for a monster season. I mean, he told us earlier this summer, or actually just a couple days ago, that, he's 100%. If there was a game, he'd be ready to go. And I think when you look at what he brings to the pass rush, it's going to create Alabama's defense to be even that much more explosive. And then when you look at the other side, you have Anthony Jennings. Not a lot of people talk about Anthony Jennings, right? He had 6 sacks last year, 6 tackles for loss. Very, very talented player, knows the system as senior, one of the alpha males on this defense. So those are your 2 edge rushers, right? Outside linebacker. And then defensive end, you have Raekwon Davis and you have LeBron Ray. But now that I think about it, you have LeBron Ray, who's been out with the injury, and then DJ Dell, who looks like he's been out with the injury. So that's potentially 2 of Alabama's starters on defense now already banged up, and we really haven't even gotten going yet, right? I mean, the pads just got on. So we'll keep you posted on DJ Dell. Looks like it's an injury sprain. I said that earlier in the program in case you missed it. If you want to call in, 205-686-3604 is the number to call in. And we're talking about on BamaInsider.com this evening, we're talking about potential position battles. And our team writer, Tony Sukalis, does a great job. You want to check out his work on BamaInsider.com. Head over to the site and check out his article today. He's talking about the inside linebacker position. Talks about Josh McMillan, as we've talked about before. Talked about Markel Benton. Dylan Moses is obviously going to be the staple of that nucleus of the defense. And I think, it's going to be interesting to see what happens at free safety as well. You have Jared Maiden, who I think has been playing lights out. In fact, so let's play some more highlights while we're waiting for our next caller. And we'll continue with some highlights of the quarterbacks while we wait for a call. All right. And as you can see, this is Talia Tungobaloa. He's done a really great job. And Paul Tyson really coming along, and these guys get so much experience because they're early enrollees. So think about how much time they've had to work with Steve Sarkisian, get to know the playbook, get to understand the offense, get to understand what type of teammates you're working with. I mean, it's so important for these guys now that are early enrollees. I mean, even if they don't play that much this coming season, they've already played in an A-Day. That's a big time environment. Get your feet wet and really just kind of understand what it means to be a part of this program. So there's Tua again. And as I said, he's looked great. Tomorrow we'll get a chance to see him during his first scrimmage. That'll be tomorrow. And then Nick Saban's press conference will be following that at 3:30. Also wanted to, let's check out the running backs, right? We got a chance to see the running backs. Let me make sure that's lined up for you. Najee Harris, obviously the guy, he just looks great. I mean, it's hard to believe when you look at Najee and you look at Brian Robinson that those guys are 230 pounds. I mean, those guys are they're all muscle, right? I mean, traditional backs. And then you have Jerome Ford, who a lot of people haven't been talking about just because of the excitement of Trey Sanders. But Jerome Ford's a guy who really dazzled during the springtime, right? I mean, he had a really big spring. And then, of course, you have Trey Sanders, who everyone's really excited about. And it looks like he might have an ankle injury. We're going to follow up on that tomorrow during Alabama's first scrimmage to see what's going on with that. And then right there, that's Keelan Robinson. Glad to see him doing well because Keelan Robinson, it looked like had some surgery earlier this year, but he looks healthy. Here's another shot of Najee Harris. I mean, how many yards for him this year, right? It's going to be Alabama's 1,000-yard back this year. It's kind of interesting to see that Alabama didn't have a 1,000-yard back last year. And how many touches is Brian Robinson going to get? Nick Saban just said he probably, he deserved more last season. And how are you going to get – and who's the third running back? Would you guys say it's going to be Jerome Ford, or are you going to see it's Trey Sanders? I don't know. It's going to be I would have to say it's going to be Trey Sanders if he is healthy and he can make a push. I just think that he's just a dynamic type player, and what I've seen from him, just small glimpses of greatness. There's Steve Sarkisian right there to the right. There's Butch Jones in the back, actually. And yeah, Najee definitely going to do his thing. So, hey, call into the show, 205-686-3604, and let me know what you want to talk about. It's your show. And like I said, I'm going to do the shows Sunday night. That's probably when we'll do, we'll break down the game on Saturday, and we'll have a lot to catch up with, and it'll be great. But I really just wanted to test this out. So I'm trying to read through the comments. The audio, does it sound all right for you guys? Can everybody hear the audio okay? And when our first two callers chimed in, could you hear them as well? All right, good. Just want to make sure you're having a nice viewing pleasure on YouTube. You can subscribe also. Don't forget to click that bell, and of course on BamaInsider.com. We would love an opportunity to earn your business. In fact, we got a special promo going right now. If you sign up, you get $75 in Adidas gear. And I don't know, the promo, I'd be curious to see if it was a Nike deal, right? Rather than an Adidas deal, being that Alabama is a Nike school. So maybe that will come in the future. Come on, call in 205-686-3604. I want to catch up with you. And all right. The comment boxes also works well. My thoughts on Alfano. I think he's coming around. I don't know how much playing time he's going to get, but he's definitely going to get playing time. He's a very hard worker. I think the thing that I really respect most about Antonio Alfano, he came into Alabama, had a lot of that hype, being a 5-star guy coming in. And I think that really hasn't faced him in any capacity. I think he's just got right to work. And I've seen him working with Christian Barmore, and him and Christian Barmore, I think, are a good pair to be working together. And Antonio Alfano is definitely going to get on the field this year in some capacity. I think he's very talented. I think he can get to the quarterback. He has a lot of athleticism. He did really well during the spring game. I think he had 2 sacks. A lot of people forget about that. And then I mentioned Christian Barmore. He's another guy who I foresee doing great things at Alabama. I think the first time that Christian Barmore stepped onto the campus at Tuscaloosa, he was probably, I wouldn't say overwhelmed, but it took him maybe a long time to really get with it. And I'm not sure that him and Coach Kolgowski really connected well, but I think that Barmore and Brian Baker have connected well. And I think we've seen a lot of maturity out of Barmore in this second fall camp. So really excited about the future for Christian Barmore. You can call in 205-686-3604. Be eager to take your call, talk with you about Alabama football. And before we I'll pipe in, let's see what else I can get you guys. I pretty much stay with the running backs. The last time Alabama was indoors. Actually, you know what? Let's play. Let me line this up for you. And let's play this interview with Brian Robinson, just so you can see. In case you missed this is a great interview.
Like, defense have different schemes as far as like this level of football, and it's just having to adjust to how defenses scheme, and how backers, how they rotate, and just what you need to do and where you need to be aligned, and like what type of like steps and footwork, everything you need to take just to get in the perfect position to pick up blitz. So with the game moving faster, that was just the only thing that I had to adjust to, was just that blitzes, they come faster, and you're picking up blitzes from both sides of the field now. So that was just a plus when it's just this level of football.
Is that something you had to do in high school, pass pro? Did you have to do much of that in high school?
I did a good bit of pass protection, but it wasn't as deep as it is at this level of football. I just did like the base rules of just like blocking the mic point, or just whatever point that I was pointed to, like from my quarterback. But now, with like secondary blitzes now, scanning the field, having to block on both sides of the ball, that was the only thing I really had to adjust to.
What's the most important thing that makes a running back a good pass protector?
Just having good base, and knowing how to use your hands and get good position on a blocker, inside out on them. When blitzers coming down strong in A and B gaps, and if you're back on your heels, you're not going to be able to get good position on them. So you got to meet them up in a line. Use your hands, shoot your hands, and have good base in order to pick up blitz.
What's different about this off season, this preseason? Knowing that you're one of the veterans in that running back room, and you don't necessarily have some of the guys you had ahead of you before.
mean, obviously it's more serious. You know, I take everything. I always took things serious, but you know, it's just at the next level now. You know, knowing that the roles increasing. You know, that I'll be used for more things and just focusing on everything I need to fix in order to be prepared and ready.
Yesterday, Nick said, you know, of anybody on the team that probably deserved more opportunity last year, you were that guy. I don't know if you heard that, but if you did, what's your reaction to something like that, knowing that you felt that highly of you?
Me and Coach, we communicated about that. Like, you know, he knows, you know, I prepared, you know, hard. I worked hard since I got here, you know, and I just awaited the opportunity. Whenever it had come, you know, I was prepared for it, and, you know, he knew that. You know, we talked about it, and, you know, obviously for depth purposes, it didn't work out like that, but, you know, like, we know where we stand on that.
How would you differentiate your style compared to Najee and Trey?
I mean, we're all pretty much, you know, hard-nosed runners, you know, elusive, got good agility, smart, instinctive, and I wouldn't really say that, you know, we're different when it comes to comparison. We got a lot of similarities, and we just have different ways we like to do things. You know, obviously Najee, I hurdle. You know, I'm probably not gonna hurdle anybody, but you know, that's just part of his game. You know, Trey, he's pretty good. He likes, you know, use his feet. He's great with agility. You know, we all have all the same abilities. It's just the way we like to use them.
Do you have a signature move that you're planning?
All right, that was B-Rob, Brian Robinson. What a young man, right? Very talented, very well spoken, and I think he's a great representative of Tuscaloosa, being that he's right out of Hillcrest. So, really excited to see what he can do, and I think, you know, him just having a great head on his shoulders. Hard not to root for a guy like that, just because, you know, he's waited his time, and I think in a world of transfers and in a world of you know, self-entitlement, that he's been a guy that has just been, you know what, I'm going to stay the process. I'm going to work hard. I'm going to get mine. And I think in life, that's the way to be, because generally it's the people who stick things out and continue to ride through it and continue to work hard, they do well. And I really respect that from Brian Robinson. So really eager to see what he can showcase against our first game against Duke, because I think his number is going to get called plenty. And he's going to, you know, be a very exciting running back for Alabama. And I know a lot of people have made some comparisons to a Josh Jacobs sort of, you know, with him and Brian Robinson, and that very well may be the case. But, I mean, he's a big dude. I mean, 230 pounds. And from what we hear, you know, he might be one of the fastest running backs or the fastest running back on the entire team. So that says a lot. And I think that Alabama has a lot of depth at that running back position this year, and, you know, 4 backs who can definitely do it. I don't know how much Keelan Robinson will get on the field. Looks a little thin in my opinion. Might need to, you know, put on some weight and possibly redshirt, but he can still play 4 games. Remember the new redshirt rule. You can play 4 games and then you can take your redshirt, so you can still get plenty of experience. So you guys want to look at the offensive line real quick? I'm going to bring up the offensive line. Give me a second to find it right here. And you can find all these videos on our YouTube channel. Try to keep them organized and make it easy for you guys to check them out. Let's see. And we actually haven't looked at the secondary. So let me bring you some. Let me see if you can get that. I do this all on the fly, so just hang tight. All right. Here's the secondary right here. This is Nick Saban on the left, working with Patrick Surtain. He's number 2. You guys have seen a lot of this before, in case you've seen my observations. And I think the secondary, they're in good hands, you know, depending on, you know, if Patrick Surtain moves to the star position, if that's Josh Jobe, who takes over at corner along with Trayvon Diggs. Those are guys who are very capable. Right here to the right, that's Jalen Armour Davis. Remember, he returned from ACL, and he's moving great. Look at him right there on the left. And Surtain's a guy who can be multidimensional. I think he's good enough to play multiple positions for this defense. And I said it earlier on an observation piece, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. What do I mean by that? Well, his dad played in the league, and I think it's just a matter of time before Patrick Surtain plays in the league. And you're probably wondering, does Nick Saban coach around the defense, the offense? So how it works is he considers himself a graduate assistant, actually, and he works with the defensive secondary, which is interesting because now Alabama has 3 secondary coaches. You have Nick Saban, who's the graduate assistant. You have Charles Kelly, who works with the safeties. That's who we're watching right here. And then you have Carl Scott, who works with the corners. So you have 3 defensive minds working with the secondary, which I think is great because, in the passing world that we live on, more emphasis needs to be put on the passing game. This is actually DeMarco Helms. And I mentioned in my observations, I mean, he's a big dude, 205 pounds. This is Jalen Armour Davis again. So while the secondary is top end heavy with guys that are seniors and upperclassmen, guys that could potentially be headed out after this coming season, you do have guys who are in the younger being sophomores or freshmen that look very talented. I mean, look, Patrick Surtain is just a sophomore, which I think is great for Crimson Tide fans. And then there's number 14 right there. That is Brandon Turnage, who is absolutely ripped. He's just like a yoked individual. And him and Jalen Armour Davis have been looking really, really good out there. And so the secondary is in good hands. And then I think I have some footage of, let me fast forward this. See if we have footage. Oh, here we go. Here's Xavier McKinney. Moves at a ad's going to play, so I'll switch it back. He moves at a whole different level. I mean, he's just an incredible individual. And again, if you want to call into the call-in line, feel free. You can call. We can talk Alabama football, 205-686-3604. Be happy to hear from you guys. Be happy to talk Alabama football. Don't be nervous to call in. Nobody cares. I mean, it's just talking football. What we do, it's Alabama football. It's not hard to talk about, right? You just talk about 5 and 4 stars the whole time and talk about their schedule. But don't talk about next year's schedule because Nick Saban, he'll get pissed off, right? I mean, in the last presser that we had, a reporter asked him about next year's schedule. And if you've seen next year's schedule, it's a good schedule. Got Georgia, that 3rd game. And I had a hot take on the message boards on BamaInsider.com. I said this. I was like, it's going to be really exciting for that 3rd game of the season next year after Alabama and Georgia play in the SEC championship and also play in the national title this coming season. Could you imagine that? And think about it. Just hear me out. Hypothetically, if Alabama and Georgia both went out, right? And Georgia has a good schedule. Alabama does too. They could somewhere slip up in there, but I don't think either will. But I think that if those two play in the SEC championship game and they're both undefeated, they're both going to go into the playoff game, right? I would love to see Georgia and Clemson and Alabama versus, I don't know. I would love to see Oklahoma just because of the Jalen Tua deal and Jalen playing against Alabama again. But let's say it's Ohio State or Michigan or Notre Dame, whoever it is. And then I think that you could see, again, 2 SEC teams playing for the national championship game. It's not far off. So they could potentially play 3 times within, a short span. So talk about really, a rivalry game that should be exciting, especially with Kirby Smart and all the talent that he has. Nobody's talking about Georgia. And we're not about to make this a Georgia show, but everybody knows that Georgia is very talented. They got a very dangerous team, and they're coming. Everybody knows it. You can call in. I'm going to leave the lineup open for just a few more minutes, and then I'll close it out, and I will catch up with you guys next time, probably tomorrow after Nick Saban's press conference, and we get a chance to learn what went down during Alabama's second scrimmage, the first scrimmage of the 2019 season. So looking forward to that. But thanks for all the support, and I appreciate the positive criticism. I'm trying to get better, trying to work on adding more graphics, and always trying to improve because you guys definitely deserve the best. I mean, it's Alabama football coverage, right? I mean, it's a stacked market, so always trying to improve, always trying to get better, and definitely want to provide good content for you right here on our YouTube channel. And of course, as I always say, all the coverage back on BamaInsider.com. Before I go, to the men and women who have served this great country and who are currently serving overseas, we're defending this great country. We sincerely appreciate everything that you do for us. And it's not hard to be a good person out there. So as I always say, be good people. Very important to treat each other with respect. Thanks for calling in tonight. We got a couple calls, and I know the calls are going to heat up as we get moving forward. 205-686-3604. You can also call and leave a voicemail, play it on our next show. But until then, my friends, you guys have a great evening. You guys be safe out there on Friday. Enjoy your Saturday. Enjoy the weekend. Call your loved ones. And I will catch up with you soon right here on BamaInsider.com, reporting from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama. This is Kyle Henderson. Until next time.